Raider Nation, what's going on? It's Mitchell Renz here from the Raiders Report, and coming up here on today's show before college football gets kicked off here, we're going to talk about some Raiders injury news. I talked to a starting player for the Silver and Black, and he told me that he's battling with an injury, so we'll give you an update on that. The Davante Adams trade rumors, because apparently we got to still talk about them. My reaction to the Raiders captains. I know yesterday when I was getting my tattoo, I didn't really have a lot of time to really elaborate on what I thought of the 9 captains that the Silver and Black name. I will give you a tattoo update at the very, very end of today's show, and then I'll also talk about the number one player that every single Raider fan needs to be watching today when college football kicks off. Now, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications. If you're looking for Raiders news and rumors, I got you covered every single day over the next 3 days, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. I'm going to be filming videos from my house unless there's major breaking news that I got to go to the studio for. When I was getting my tattoo, I just didn't quite have enough time to be able to film extra stuff like I usually do. So for the next 3 days, this is going to be the get up here at the Raiders Report. All right, so yesterday I was talking to a few different players and had a few guys hit me up. Honestly, a lot of it started because of the Raiders tattoo. I've had a lot of amazing outreach, and if anybody hasn't already, go give Sayer, SEYER _tattoo, TATTOO, a follow on IG for the amazing work that he did. And if you haven't already seen it, go check it out on my IG and on my Twitter at Mitchell Renz 365. So I had a bunch of players hit me up. And you're like, dude, that stuff's awesome. It's amazing. Got to talking to a few of them. And one of the Raiders' starting players on offense, that's all I'm allowed to tell you, he said, Mitch, I'll tell you what's going on with me, but you can't say who I am and you can't say what the injury is. So there is a starting player for the Raiders, and once the practice stuff starts to come out, because now that it's the regular season, the NFL teams are going to have to disclose a lot more of that information. Once the player is put on the practice or put on the injury report is then when I'm allowed to tell you all who exactly it is. I will say this, though. It is not a major injury. He believes that he's going to be A-OK for week 1, but it's just a name that once it happens, I'll tell you guys next week. But from what I understand right now, he was working extra time yesterday in the trainer's room trying to get some of that extra work in, suffered the injury during practice on Thursday. So he's a little bit banged up, a little bit sore from what I understand. But once I can tell you all who that player is, I'll be happy to do so. I made a promise to him, but there is a starting player on this Raiders team battling with an injury. He's going to be probably listed as questionable, but he told me that he's going to be ready to go up against the Broncos week 1. So with the Raiders-Broncos game week 1, I got to know down in the comments section, who's going to the game? I wish I could go. I can still remember the very first time I went out to Oakland back in 2019. The very first game I went to was Raiders-Broncos Monday Night Football. I know this game isn't prime time, but anytime you're going up against the Ponies, it feels like prime time to me. So let me know down in the comment section if anybody's going to the Broncos game. Let's talk about the next thing here, and I'm kind of getting sick and tired of talking about it, but yet people keep asking me. So guess what? Davante Adams trade rumors, they're not true. They're fake. I saw that somebody, Dan Graziano from ESPN, said, oh, this is a move that you should be watching out for. I've seen the things out there from JPA and MLF saying Davante Adams is not unhappy and doesn't want to be traded. We have said it for months. People who actually follow this team understand, and that's one of the reasons why I get frustrated with ESPN, because ESPN, the guys that talk about the Raiders, don't actually understand the Raiders, and they just come up with crazy, outlandish shit because they got to drive clicks. Don't get me wrong. I'm sitting up here right now. This is what I do to put food on my table, a roof over my head, and most importantly, put treats in that guy's belly right there. But here's the cold hard fact. If you want Raiders content, go to YouTube, because people here on YouTube will run laps around Stephen A. Smith, will run laps around Dan Graziano in terms of Raiders knowledge. And the biggest reason why Davante Adams, two biggest reasons why Davante Adams ain't getting traded this year. Number one, he doesn't want to be traded. He understands to make that big time money on his deal, it's in the back half of his year. On top of that, the Raiders restructured Davante Adams' contract this season. This offseason. Guess what? they have already paid for him in 2024. So sure, if there's an NFL team out there that wants to give the Raiders 2 first-round picks at the absolute least, then there's a conversation to be had. But for people to think that the Raiders are just going to trade away Davante Adams when they're already paying his salary in 2024, how does it make sense to trade away the best wide receiver in the National Football League to another team when you're still going to be paying him in 2024? If Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't work out, guess what? They're going to want Davante for Aiden O'Connell, or they're going to want whoever the quarterback is next year to have Davante Adams. The idea of trading Adams is making me clinically insane, and I can't handle it anymore. So if you see the Davante Adams trade rumors, send them my way, because I'm going to put some people in their place real quick. Essentially, you're trading away Adams, you're going to eat $24 million, and you're giving up the best wide receiver in the NFL. Tell me, does that sound like it makes any sense? The simple answer is hell F no. All right, let's talk about the Raiders captains here. Next up, and the Silver and Black announced 9. There were some names that should not surprise anybody. If Davante Adams, Daniel Carlson, A.J. Cole, Maxx Crosby, Jimmy Garoppolo, Josh Jacobs surprise you, I just don't think that you follow this team all that closely. Yeah, there was a lot of drama around Jacobs, but one of the reasons why I was very confident that he was going to come back, sure, there were people that were close to Jacobs' family telling me, hey, like, Jacob still wants to be a Raider, like, this is where he wants to be, it's going to end up getting done. Raiders also reserved number 8 for Josh, and some of y'all don't think that's a big deal. If Jacobs would have changed his jersey last season from 28 to 8, it would have cost him almost $4 million. And these NFL guys, I get it, you're making $4 million, but for a running back, for a lot of people out there, change your number for $4 million, guess what? It's a lot of money. Now, obviously, he doesn't have to do it now. They have granted him that. All I'm saying, though, is Josh Jacobs was going to be a captain on this team. In terms of the other captains, Colton Miller, that one was expected to me. The two that continue to get thrown out there that surprise a lot of people, Marcus Epps and Robert Spillane. I said that my sneaky captain prediction was Epps because of the way that the teammates that I talked to were talking about Epps. And then even on top of that, you've heard the coaching staff talk about him. And Epps kind of brings that swagger. He's going to be playing a lot of snaps. He was a leader on that Philadelphia Eagles team that went to the Super Bowl last season. So Epps, it is a surprising move out of the captains that were announced. But I'm going to pat myself on the back here a little bit and say, hey, that was one of my sleeper predictions. The one that I didn't predict and the one that I did not see coming was Robert Spillane. But it just goes to show, because one thing that people got to realize with these captain selections is, sure, the coaches probably have some say in it. The organization might have a little bit of say in it, but the captains primarily are picked by the players. And for the Raiders players to pick Robert Spillane as a team captain shows the impact that guy is having in that locker room right now. On top of that, I know a lot of people were surprised if you were going to name a linebacker captain, why is it not Divine Diablo with a green dot? I mean, if you're going to give him the green dot, sure, it's probably more to do with his positioning on the football field, since he's expected to be the Mike linebacker in a Patrick Graham system. But to me, Robert Spillane getting that captain status is a really good thing for Spillane. But it makes me wonder what some of those teammates think about Divine Diablo. Now, sure, maybe I'm reading a little bit too much into it, but that's where my thought process went. Also, though, really, really happy to see Jimmy Garoppolo rocking that C jersey. It's going to be fun, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, the way that, again, we're going to end this show is I'll show you my tattoo here in just a second. Also, the college football games that you all need to be watching. There's a lot of good football games. I mean, I'm going to be watching Washington. I'm curious to see how that lefty quarterback Penix ends up looking. Really athletic QB. I know a lot of Raider fans last draft process were like, yo, Mitch, you got to watch Dorian Thompson-Robinson. And he's a talented quarterback. If you like Dorian Thompson-Robinson, you need to go watch out Penix, because Thompson-Robinson is the Dollar General version of what Lennox Penix Jr. is going to be doing on the football field this season. But the number one game that the nation needs to watch today, it is North Carolina and South Carolina. And I don't believe that this team is going to be bad enough to get Drake May. But you know what? Watching two quarterbacks that have a lot of talent, I think Spencer Rattler is a knucklehead, and that's probably the best way that I can explain that. But the reason why Spencer Rattler is going to get hyped next year is because you can't deny the talent. Rattler is an incredibly, incredibly talented quarterback. And I know Caleb Williams gets all the hype in the world about being the number 1 overall pick potentially in 2024. I'm telling y'all right now. And for the OG Raiders Report watchers that have been watching the show for over a year at least, I would take Drake May over Caleb Williams because the quarterback position, Caleb Williams is the more athletically gifted QB. No doubt about it. He is a more physically athletic QB than Drake May. But Drake May's got it up here. And what do I want in a quarterback? A guy that's got it up here. And especially if Josh McDaniels is going to be your offensive-minded guy running the plays, your head coach, you need somebody that can do it up here. I'm telling y'all, Drake May is the best quarterback in college football. He should be the number 1 overall pick next year. Watch today's game. Watch him. He is effortless. He is smooth. Watching him throw the football reminds me, when it comes out of his hand, it reminds me of Aaron Rodgers type of just how easy it is coming out of the hand. You're also not going to like this. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Justin Herbert as well. Like, dude has undeniable talent. He's going to be a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. And he's got upside to be top 5 QB in the NFL a few years down the road. All right, y'all, without further ado, I'll back up here a little bit. I've had a few people ask me, Mitch, how you feeling? Don't get me wrong. I'm sore. I'm not going to sit up here act like a big old macho guy. That's not what I try to do here. I'm definitely a little bit sore. I'm not as sore as what I thought I would be. It's amazing how awesome this whole thing looks to me, but it's wrapped right now in some plastic wrap that, shout out to Sayer, he hooked me up with. It's usually what they give like burn victims, and all I got to do is keep it on for 6 days, and then I'll take it off. If there's something that I'm upset that I can't do, I just bought a pool, like a little kiddie pool for Chuck, and him and I have been, on my off days, going out in this turf area out here near my apartment complex and playing with the ball and, swimming a little bit, which he is devastated right now that we can't do it. As you can see, he's just like, bro, you were telling me all week that we were going to hang out. We are, just maybe it's not what you quite had in mind. All right, y'all, I'll give you the update here on the tattoo. Again, if you guys could, go give Sayer some love on Instagram. He is at Sayer, SEYER _tattoo on Instagram. My man did a phenomenal job. It is healing correctly. Everything looks good so far. 14 hours of work, and it seems like it was worth it. I've had a lot of, like I said, really, really good feedback. I've had Raiders players reach out. I've had UFC fighters reach out. Rappers reach out. A lot of people. I know I wasn't born a Raider fan, but I hope nobody ever doubts my commitment to excellence. I'm a fan because of this fan base. I'm a fan because I can still remember like it was yesterday. The first time I went to Oakland, the first time I walked off the BART, walking through the bridge, walking into the tailgates, man, it changed me, and that's why I'm a fan. And that's everything that this Raiders tattoo is. I'm rooted in Oakland in a different way. The Raiders fans, Raider Nation will always be a part of my family tree. I want y'all to know that. That's why I got that commitment to excellence. It's why I do this stuff even on my off days. Why? It's also a therapy session for me. Believe me, you guys help me out a lot more than I think you guys realize. So on behalf of me, come on, say hi. Don't be so down. He wants to go outside. I know. So from me and from this guy right here, shout out to all of y'all and much love, and enjoy your long holiday weekend because we deserved it. Because guess what? Next weekend, we got some Raiders football next weekend. I can't freaking wait. Obviously, we're going to be live. Jeremy Chuggs and I, Raiders, Broncos, Sunday. It's going to be live. It's going to be wild. Hit that subscribe button. For more videos around the Las Vegas Raiders, click this subscribe button right here. And I know some of y'all probably watch a lot of the videos, but hey, if you want even more content, then you can click this button right here. See this tail up there in that area? It's probably like right around there. You can click that button as well to get even more content here around the Raiders. Don't do it for me. Do it for Chuck. Every person that subscribes and watches these videos, he gets an extra toy and he gets more dog food, which is the #1 reason to click all those buttons.